So I was just thinking about the PlayStation 3 and the Xbox 360 in 2025, which one is kind of worth it, but also comparing both consoles because both consoles kind of had different purposes in a sense. Because if you think about the Xbox 360, the Xbox 360 was more about the connectivity, Xbox Connect, right? And it still had a great library, but the PlayStation 3 really focused more on the hardware side of things. Like it was the first console with the Blu-ray player, for example, and a lot of really strong hardware such as 1080p connectivity, stuff like that. While the Xbox 360 was the more affordable model. PlayStation 3 had many great games when you really come to think about it. God of War was really good during the series. Metal Gear Solid was a really strong name in the PlayStation 3 era. The Last of Us really came out at the end of the PlayStation 3 era as well. Gran Turismo's great, and there are a lot of really good titles. Even Twisted Metal, for example, with the PlayStation 3, that were just endless with really strong, powerful, good names. And a lot of people went for the PlayStation 3 in the end because of the sheer power of the console, but it was a lot more expensive than the Xbox 360. The Xbox 360, once again, focused more on that online connectivity and Xbox Connect, and it still had a lot of great games. Like Halo was huge during the Xbox 360 era, absolutely massive. There was Forza, there's a lot of other really good games like Gears of War, for example, as well. So there are a lot of really good titles, even exclusives like Fable as well. That was huge during the Xbox 360 era. There were also a lot of really great cross-compatible games during this era as well, like Skyrim really came out during this time as well, Minecraft, the list goes on. FIFA was huge during this era too. So, man, both consoles are great, and both consoles are quite affordable to this day. Like, you can grab both consoles for just over $150 max with a lot of these consoles and a whole bunch of games, for example, as well. And even with the PS3, there are a whole bunch of models out there and a whole bunch of choices. You got the slim models where you could kind of fit it in anywhere, but it kind of sacrifices power for the PlayStation 3. So you're kind of sacrificing power for more space physically with the PlayStation 3 Slim or the Super Slim. Whereas with the base PlayStation 3 model, it's just got more power to it. And of course, you got the PS3 completely backwards compatible model, which has that PS2 library enabled. And that's really a good one to go for. But man, is that expensive. And it's something that I'm actually personally looking for. And I think it'll be great to have something that has my favorite library of the PlayStation 2 era in it. That would be absolutely fantastic. I'll be so down to have a PS3 that has that full backwards compatibility. With the PS3, it's just interesting how throughout time, they released the Slim and they actually took away components out of the PlayStation 3. The original PlayStation 3 was one of the more powerful versions, and this one, for example, this is another one of those PlayStation 3s, and it did have the sheer power, and it trumps the Xbox in terms of its just power, in terms of just having the ability to play 1080p, for example. So with the Xbox 360, I love the library. I think it's absolutely fantastic. And of course, we've got GTA 5, we've got Call of Duty, we've got a lot of really great games that came out during this time. And really, because a lot of the games are more physical these days, they don't have the PlayStation 3 Online library really up anymore. And with, Xbox Marketplace, we know that the 360 Marketplace is not really existing anymore. So I would say most of the games are going to be physical that you're going to buy. With the Xbox 360, man, there's so many games that you can buy and they're super cheap. Same as obviously the PlayStation 3, they're all going to be super cheap. Now it just depends on which model you prefer. Did you prefer playing, The Last of Us natively on the PlayStation 3? Well, you still have that option to actually remaster it on the PlayStation 5. So you don't really have to go back and play on the PlayStation 3. And with the Xbox 360, you've got the Master Chief Collection, for example, as well. And a lot of these games are remastered, but they're missing some of the games. I've always said Marvel Ultimate Alliance, or maybe some of the Metal Gear Solid games that were cross-compatible with both consoles, or just the native nostalgic nature of both consoles. Like, some people love to go back to both these consoles and just relive how those times were, so that's what makes them both important. But yeah, like, the PlayStation 3 isn't as backwards compatible as the Xbox Series X and the Xbox 360, if that makes sense. So what I mean is, PlayStation 3 full library won't be available on the newest PlayStation. So if you want to play, like, I don't know, Little Big Planet, or just a lot of PlayStation 3 niche games, like Twisted Metal, for example, as well, like, you are going to have to buy a PlayStation 3 to be able to play that. Whereas with the Xbox 360, a lot of the library is transferred onto the latest console and the latest generation, but, you know, the library is not 100% there, so you're still going to need a lot of those games. So it really depends. Like, Skyrim is pretty affordable, but you can still play that on the latest generation. Once again, like, God of War, once again, there is a remaster of number 3 on the PlayStation 4, so you can play that on the PlayStation 5, but man, if you just want to play a lot of those native, like, exclusives, and you want to relive these times, like you want to play GTA 5 on the PlayStation 3 again, then that's up to you. Like, just being honest, I think both consoles are still great, and I love the Xbox 360 a lot, and I still actually play back, and I fixed it up today, and I'm just super excited to play the Xbox 360 again in 2025. But now looking back at, like, the PlayStation 3, I actually want to delve more into the PlayStation 3 era, maybe play some Spider-Man, maybe play, like, Twisted Metal and give that a go and see if I like it. It's just about taste. Like, I personally love, like, retro gaming, and I love going back in history and playing this era, because this era from, what, 2005 to 2013 was huge, and there was so many great games that came out during this time. And like, there's this whole story that they talk about with both consoles, how, you know, which one was winning during these times, and, you know, there's a whole debacle of, you know, PlayStation 3 kind of lost a lot of the race, and in the end they kind of took over because of the games, and, you know, Xbox 360 really reigned during this time. And I think it was because of the affordability of the console in general, and it was just more accessible for a lot more people. But then the PlayStation 3 just had the sheer power, and it just had the games that actually attracted people in the end, that I kind of want to explore now and want to play a little bit more of. And plus, the controller is really cool because it has that motion control connectivity as well that I've never really explored with the PlayStation 3 before. We do have it, you know, obviously with the PlayStation 5 and everything, but it'd be cool to sort of go back and actually explore the PlayStation 3 maybe a little bit more in 2025. I think it'll be a really interesting thing to discover. And of course, like, this is the time when the PSP also was released, and then you got the PS Vita as well. Man, it was such a great time for gaming, and I think I want to sort of explore it more. Of course, I didn't even mention Uncharted as well. Like, there were a lot of great games with the PlayStation 3 era, but a lot of them are remastered, but some of them aren't. So it's great to, you know, go back and play some of those games if you sort of experienced them, or you want to go back and just experience them again for the first time. And games for both consoles are super affordable too. So really, it is just up to you which one you want to go for out of these points. Like, both consoles are great. Maybe the PlayStation 3 would have more games to really explore, because obviously the backwards compatibility isn't fully there with the PlayStation lineup, but there are a lot of remasters, and maybe there is still room for a PlayStation 3 exploration. But also with the Xbox 360, I still think it's great, and I still love it. So many options out there. So hopefully this video gives you something to think about with these consoles, and I'll see you guys definitely next time.